Good afternoon, everyone, and Happy New Year. This is Rick Bosley, and back with the Meet the Mega Agent series. Got a new look there as I purchased a couple logos from Fiverr.com. So there's your tip of the day. Those cost me $15 a piece for all sorts of logos. Fiverr, Fiverr.com is where I got that. They're our paid sponsor for today. But no, we're going to be doing this every other Tuesday now, so mark your calendars. It'll be recurring. And now that you guys have signed up here, you'll be always signed up, and you always get those reminders. So every other Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m. Today's session is a friend of mine who I know has been kicking some serious tail and didn't really know how much. And I probed and asked her, and Debbie, you've had a phenomenal 2013. So Debbie Iron's on the call with us. Debbie, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Rick.
So I texted Debbie probably 3 weeks ago. I said, just curious, how was 2013? I want you to be a Meet the Mega Agent. She says, I don't know if I'm worthy. I only went from 4.2 to 9.5 million and had 125% growth. And I said, are you kidding me? So that's huge. First off, congratulations for that.
Thank you so much. It's been a crazy year, very enlightening.
Well, and that's what I love about you giving me permission to kind of talk about your ups and downs and trials and tribulations, not to mention the life of chaos that you sometimes have to lead, as you've got 4 girls under the age of 13 who you also are being a full-time mother to. So I think
I am, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about kind of the beginning, pre-2013, where you've come, when you got into business, and the ramp-up period. If 4.2 is your previous best, if you saw a little bit of a roller coaster effect, let us insight of kind of who you are in your real estate career.
Okay, absolutely. And first I want to thank you for allowing me to kind of be wide open on here. People always have questions about my personal life as well as my business life, and I'm going to allow everybody, if you guys have questions, I'm wide open, nothing's too personal, so feel free to ask it, because I think that's probably the most interesting part of what's happened to me in the past 2 years, and of course the last year that it's really been seen in my business. I'm going to go back a little bit so you can kind of get some background of where I come from. As with many agents, real estate was never really on my radar. Not many 12-year-olds walk around and say, hey, I want to be a real estate agent and I want to be loved just a tad bit more than used car salesman, you know, right? So that was never really on my radar growing up, and I sort of fell into the business. Just to tell you what I was before I became a real estate agent, I was a micromolecular biologist. I was building treatment wetlands for about 8 years in the Everglades, and then after my second baby came, within 16 months, I could not keep up with the schedule. If you're running an experiment, something goes wrong, you can't just take off and go home. So I realized pretty quickly that I was going to have to change jobs.
Well, and I know that you never lost your passion for that either, because when we went to the Buccaneers game about 2 months ago, you guys obviously weren't there, but Debbie actually jetted across the street in front of traffic to look at lily pads. So you still haven't lost that passion for that either, Debbie.
Thanks so much for mentioning that, Rick. Yes, I do. I absolutely have a passion for it. People ask me all the time if I would go back. Here's the problem is I have a master's degree, and yet I know I would never be able to make more than probably 70 to 80,000, even if I was at the top of my game in the science world. So if someone told me, yeah, you could go back, great, I could work 60 hours and make $75,000 a year and pretty much miss my child's life, yeah, there's not much of a choice, right?
Sure.
So, yeah, pretty tough. So after that, my second baby came pretty quick. I suddenly realized, you know what, I'm not going to be able to handle this. I was in a situation, I was married, and I really didn't need to work. We were financially fine, and I didn't have to work, so I tried to be a stay-at-home mom, and that lasted about 2 months. Wow, I had 2 colicky babies at home, and hail to all the stay-at-home moms out there, because let me tell you, it is the hardest job in the world, and I knew that I had to get out of the house. So I went and applied for a real estate admin position. and I interviewed for that job, and I remember him specifically saying to me, you know, are you overqualified for this job? And honestly, I didn't really want to tell him, man, I just need to get out of this house before I go crazy with these babies, and, you know, I needed something, and I was always going to be a career person. So after about 3 months with that person who's a local agent here in Orlando, I realized, you know what, I can do this job. It looks easy, no problem. You know, I just need to get my license. So I worked for him for a while, and then I got my real estate license. I quit that job, and basically you come out of class, as most of you know, and I know enough to be dangerous, and I made $0 my first year, like so many others, because I had no idea what I was doing, and 10 years later, here I am.
So time out, I was going to ask the timeline, so that was in 2004.
It was like 2002 when I started to venture out, 2003, and then yes, I got my license in 2004.
In your first year, you made nothing.
I made $0, absolutely.
So when did you make your first sale?
What happened was I was actually out, a local agent here, which is a huge agent in the area, asked me to help him do wetland delineation. He knew that was my background. I actually owned a lakefront property at the time, and he had some buyers that were looking for lakefront property, and he started talking to me about, you know, what was a wetland property. I started giving him all the information. He said, you know what, you need to come work for me. So I told him, actually, you know what, I do have my license. I just don't really know what I'm doing with it. So he took me on board, and next thing I know, I was making 6 figures within that first year with him. Granted, I was working probably 60 to 80 hours a week. I was on his beck and call, but suddenly I went from making $0 to 6 figures, and I got thrown into the business right away.
When you were working with him, were you responsible for lead generating or more of a buyer's agent role?
I was more of a buyer's agent role. I really knew nothing about lead generation. So yeah, they were just all coming to me, and I was doing everything I could just to survive at that point.
So how long did you stay with him?
I stayed with him for about, I would say, 2 years. I stayed with him and realized, well, there were several different factors that went on in there, and he actually joined Keller Williams, which was up in Vista Lakes at the time. He joined that company, and some things went down where he left the company, and I decided to stay on my own. I had learned enough at that point to know what I wanted to be, who I wanted to be in the business, and decided we were no longer a good match.
So you joined Keller Vista Lakes back in 2007?
I did, yes.
Okay, as a part of his team.
As a part of his team, and then pretty shortly, a couple months later, I was on my own.
Okay, so it didn't take long to go on your own. So really, if we could talk your born-again real estate career, it wasn't in 2002 or 2004 because you became a single agent with 0 pipeline, 0 past clients, as they were all his, in 2007, 2008.
You got it. Absolutely.
And as a sidebar real fast, there might be some agents out there who are listening, whether live or recorded, and that might be frustrated because it's their first year of real estate and maybe they don't have their goals or maybe they've made 0, and yet in 10 years you can do $9.5 million. What would you say is the biggest difference for somebody in their first year to do knowing what you know now if you could have done it over again back in 2003 and 2004?
Yeah, you know, it's so frustrating sometimes when I think about that when I got in the business, which is one thing I love about this company is they teach you what the business is truly about. I had no clue. I thought people were going to call me and want to buy or sell their house. It's just what you're thought of is what the business is really what it's not. And I think if I would have had a pipeline back 10 years, the kind of business I would be doing now, it would be just amazing. So I had no idea. I had no idea I actually had to make phone calls and make business for myself. So that was pretty shocking to me. And honestly, it never really clicked to me until I came back to Keller Williams because I left for several years. I did several things, went to 100% companies, did all kinds of different things which I can offer some advice on to people. And, you know, I was doing pretty well. I was in between a $4 and $5 million business, but I stayed the same. I plateaued for pretty much at least 6 years.
So just so I can keep my timeline straight, you left Keller in 2007 or shortly after that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I went, and I think it was closer to 2007, 2006, 2007, and then I left for several years, and then I came back. So I've been here at this office for about 2.5 years.
Okay, so just 2011 then.
Yes.
Okay, got it. When was the first year you hit $4 million?
The first year I hit $4 million was, let's see, 2008.
Okay. Did you see a dip with the economy from 2008 to 2011, 2010?
I did. It was really hard to get business at that time. It was a huge dip, but I got this new motivation. Again, those of you who know me know I have 4 kids, and at the time we had adopted a brand new baby girl in 2005, so she was getting a little bit older, so I had a little bit more time because she was not a newborn anymore to go out there and really seek business, and that was starting to happen for me pretty quickly.
So in 2011, when you joined back with Vista Lakes, what was your business?
It was in between 4 and 5 as well.
Okay, 2012, 4 and 5. And then a light bulb happened, a switch happened. So you don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to decide to double my business. Some purpose that goes with it. And that's kind of what the feature of the phone call is about. Would love to talk about what changed in your business and your systems and your mindset. Whatever it is, what was the switch that went off? Was it, and I'm asking a lot of questions in one, was it a specific conversation, a specific book you read, a specific class, or what was that change, that pivotal moment?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you a little bit about 2012 because I knew that I could be doing so much more. A lot of personal things were happening. At the time in 2012, I still didn't need to work. It was never a need. It was always trying not to work so much. And then I separated from my husband in 2012, or now ex-husband in 2012. And then I started to realize, wow, okay, life changed. I thought I had everything. I never truly needed to work again. I mean, I was financially set. But, of course, the happiness was not there, and I made a personal decision that my life needed to change. And that took a while. I think through 2012, I was going through that transition at the time of dealing with being married to suddenly not being married and suddenly needing to fend for myself, and just dealing with the emotion of all of that and the transition of all of that was a lot. And this opportunity actually fell in my lap with probably one of the most amazing admin people that came into my life at the time, who most of you know. And she approached me and said, you know what, you are a $20 million agent living in a $5 million world right now, and I think I can change that. And I said, I'm not sure. I don't think I believed in myself at all. I felt like I had no more time in the world. I was dealing with single mom of 4 kids and a household and everything else going on. I felt like I was pretty much where I could go. And she kind of made me see the light, which was wonderful. And although at the time I was not in the right mindset to do what I could have done with her, that conversation, being with her, and then finally when we sort of started to part ways, because honestly I wasn't truly ready for an amazing admin like her. I just was not mentally ready for that. Mm-hmm. She said one thing to me that truly resonates with me to this day is, as we were parting as friends, she said to me, I said, you know, I'd really like to double my business in 2013. And she said to me, you know what, Debbie, right now, you can't do it. And I tell you what, that one sentence it was really hard. It hit me very, very hard, and I thought, you know what? She's absolutely right. I know what I want, but until I change my mindset, it's never going to happen. And that one sentence changed my mindset like a switch right there.
Wow. Now, are you not wanting to say her name out loud? Because I think she's all nice stuff you said so far about her. Give her some kudos or not?
Oh, absolutely. Stephanie Sosa, yeah, absolutely. I love her. She is amazing, absolutely. She, again, came to me. I believe she truly changed my mindset. I learned so much from her, even though it ended up where I didn't end up where I wanted to be after that partnership. It taught me so much about myself, about my business, about where I wanted to be. And you know what? I think she believed in me even before I believed in myself. And for that, I'm truly grateful.
I love that story. So right now you can't, and she specifically was talking about what? Because why? What was in your way?
You know, I think it was my focus. I definitely had some limiting beliefs because I was a single mom of 4 kids that I just couldn't give anymore. I was easily distracted and dealing with all of the emotion of what I was going through and the fear. I've said many times, like, okay, I need to set myself up in case I can't close enough to pay my bills. I'm going to have to go back to science. So, you know, I kept having these very limiting beliefs of what I could do as a real estate agent, and that was really hurting me.
So think about that what if, that doomsday, and always think about plan B instead of really embracing plan A.
Absolutely. I was really into embracing plan B because when you have 4 children that you know you're going to be fending for yourself, you go from somebody who never needed to work and financially stable, you make a huge change in your life because of happiness, and you're suddenly on your own. It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mind-blowing. It's scary. It's very, very scary.
So you know you've got a lack of focus. You know you have limited beliefs. You know you're always thinking about that doomsday
Yes.
scenario when you can't pay your bills and looking at the next bill. You're constantly distracted. The squirrels are flying in and out of your office. So do you just decide to stop one day, or what did you do to get in the right direction to get your mindset right?
That's a great question, Rick. You know, the biggest thing that I started to do is I started to talk to other people. I started to listen to these people that were making teams work because I wanted to figure out how did I not make it work with one of the most amazing admins in the business? How did I fail at that? Why did I fail at that? So I started to listen to people talk about teams and leverage and how they did it. And everybody was different, so I started listening to all of their ideas. Everything, all the information I could get from people and building teams, I just absorbed like a sponge because I realized, wow, okay, I'm going to make mistakes. I just have to keep moving forward because for me, leverage was going to be the only way. There was only so many hours in a day, and I was going to have to find the right people to help me.
So it's about the who, which is fantastic because it's one of the 3 L's that Gary Keller tells us is listings, leads, and leverage. Just so I can get a snapshot of your business, is your average price point about the same year over year? And if so, what is it? How many units closed was the question.
Yes. We closed, as a team, we closed about 45 units. Our average price point is about $220 here in Lake Nona.
So the previous year as a single agent, you closed about 20 to 22?
Yeah, somewhere between 22 and 28. Our price point was lower.
You say hour. Did you have an assistant in 2012? I'm trying to think of that first hire that was the key. Obviously, Stephanie was the key hire for mindset and getting your butt into gear. But as far as
yeah, the one I let get away, yes. Yeah, correct. I actually hired an admin in 2012, in February 2012, and you know we go through recruit select, we go through all these different processes, but at the time I hired her because I knew she was complete talent. I knew she wasn't exactly admin, but I knew she was talent, and I wanted her on my team, and that who is Tabitha McCausland, who I knew personally, and I knew she was in the business before, and I said, listen, you need to come back and work for me. I hired her as admin for a few months, I knew by disking and AVAing her that that was not where she needed to be, and moved her quickly into the lead buyer's agent position.
Fantastic. So what's your business look like now? And we can talk more about 2013, but if we were to get a snapshot of your organizational chart, who is it now?
Yes, we have Chelsea. We have a beautiful executive assistant who's about to have a baby any moment. So, of course, that's another challenge coming down the road. So I now have full-time executive assistant. I have full-time buyer's agent, which is Tabitha McCoblin, who also has enough of a sphere to also list properties. And I just actually hired yesterday what I'm calling a marketing specialist, and that person is going to help me with expired listings, making relationships with the new builders, homeowner associations, property managers, go to networking. So that person is going to help me with all of those duties.
So you've got 2 admin, yourself and Tabitha.
Correct.
Okay. And what are some goals in 2014 that you've got in store?
Well, we set the goal for $14 million. Somebody who's been just instrumental in my business is Craig Delahoy, and of course Richard Carpentier. They really are cheerleaders for me, which I have completely appreciated. Craig is, he kind of looks at me when I say $14 million with a little bit of a squinty eye of why that low. But I want goals that I know that I can reach and exceed. I'm that person who's super competitive, and I want that goal that I can reach, but it doesn't mean I won't reach to exceed it. So right now we're looking at $14 million. This new hire just kind of came about. We have this new goal of 30 listings in 90 days, and with that, I feel like I need help. I mean, I'm very realistic. I realize that I am with my girls to get them to school from the time of 6:30 in the morning to 9 a.m. because I have 3 different schools to go to. So I realize I miss some of that magic time. And there's people that are better than me on the phone, let's face it. So I want to hire that person that's better than me and that can capitalize on that time to hit expireds. I don't want to miss that market, so it's all about hiring somebody that can do that for me.
The leverage there, okay. And the reason I went around this is so we can kind of get a clear picture of what we're going to talk into now, because now we're going to talk into what exactly changed. You mentioned you've got a challenging schedule with the 4 girls in 3 different schools. And that from 6:30 to 9 you were playing chauffeur and supermom. So what does a typical day in the life of Debbie look like?
Well, I think that's the issue. I have no typical day. Every single day is different. I am such that there is no schedule with my kids. My ex is a pilot, so every single day is different. Every month is different. It was very difficult for me to set schedules, which was really, really difficult. But I finally figured out it's about leverage, especially with this new challenge going on. I said, you know what, I need more than 1 sitter. I need 2 sitters because I need flexibility. I need a dog sitting service because I need help with these dogs. I've set myself up for success. I built a gym and put a gym up in my bonus room because that's something I need personally and I want to do, so I don't want to stress out about that. So it became a portion of A, leverage, and B, setting myself up for success because there's only so much I'm able to do. I mean, I realize that and I accept that, and that's one thing that I had to set myself. If I want to move to 14, 15, 20 million, I have to continue to morph with that because, again, there's only so many hours in a day, and no matter what, my girls are going to come first.
Sure. And I love what you said there of, hiring that dog sitter, and leverage doesn't always have to be in business. It can be in life.
Oh, absolutely. For me, just as important.
Yep. So a great question I'd like to ask realtors, because sometimes we don't know, and I'm putting you on the spot and you don't know, I apologize for that. How do you define a great day? Sometimes we go home and our loved ones or our kids or our spouses, whomever is going to say, did you have a good day? And sometimes when we're robotic, we say, yep, good day. How do you define a good day? Do you have that success is measured daily mindset? And if so, what does that look like?
I do, and I don't know that I have it, thought up in my mind. It's really a feeling. When I'm in bed at 10, 11, 12 o'clock and I just feel fulfilled, that's a great day to me. When I'm not up all night stressing or thinking, I'm one of those people that doesn't sleep very well if I have a lot of things on my mind. But I'll tell you what, my biggest thing starts as soon as I wake up in the morning. I get up, I want to go to the gym, I need that time to myself, and getting my girls off to school and they're all happy and we're laughing and they've all have their lunch and they have the clothes that they need, and it's the little things. If they walk out of that car and it's, you know, goodbye, I love you, that's a great start to my day. Getting to the office and everything's on time is a great start to my day. So it's baby steps for me. Each little thing we do. If I'm working, and I usually always do my to-do list the night before, just like for my girls, for any moms out there, dads out there that are dealing with that, I have my girls pick out their clothes the night before. They make their lunches. I've taught them to do that. They understand we're in a family that I need help. I can't do it myself. So I've empowered them at 5, 8, 11, and 12 to be able to do that for themselves, to help pick out their clothes so I know if they need something, and to do laundry. So I've empowered them to be a part of this, because otherwise I couldn't do it on my own. So those are some of the things that, you know, make this work. So getting them off to school, getting to work on time, having my to-do list ready, and getting most of that done, and getting home by you know, at 3:30 to pick them up if it's my day to have them, or to be home at 5 o'clock to be able to enjoy other things in life. That is really a successful day to me. If I really got done everything I said I was going to do, that's success.
And I love that it sounds like you've got a fantastic balance as well, where you are spending the most quality time with your girls.
Yeah, and you know, Jay always says there's really no balance. It's kind of a give and a take, but at this point, you know, I've learned to involve them in everything, so then it's not such a stressful situation.
I'm impressed, quoting the one thing. Nice job there. What is the Irons team niche? What do you do in business? Where do your leads come from? How did you double your business? You can't just snap your fingers again and say with the who, yet now you're also a manager and a leader and someone who's developing subordinates. What's your niche?
I would say the thing that we are best at is building relationships. There is one thing about and how I feel and how I want to treat people that I want to build relationships. I want to be invited to their baby showers and their weddings and their housewarming parties. So building relationships is probably one of the #1 things that we do really well, which of course includes the social media aspect. We've also started to include the free home staging and housewarming parties. Those are the things that we really like to do and that we're really good at. Again, that's why I feel so strongly about hiring other people that are maybe better at the expireds, internet lead generation, things like that, that I feel there's much better agents and much better people out there that can do that. So we concentrate on that top 20%, which really works well for us in the business. Again, the mindset was really the #1 thing. I had to get over the fact that, you know what, I don't have to be a $4 to $5 million agent. And remember, my life structure was business, or my life structure was different. So I didn't have that person telling me, you can't, why are you working, you don't need this, you don't have to do this, this isn't who you are, stop working. So I also didn't have that negative influence in my life, so you know, the doors were suddenly wide open to me. I could do whatever I wanted to do and however I wanted to do it, and that was really a freeing experience. So mindset, situation, learning and education. I started meeting with some of the other mega agents and taking them to lunch and suddenly realizing, you know, there's really no difference between them and me. Why can't I do what they're doing? And it absolutely became frustrating of, why am I not selling 100 units? So I started to get really that fire under the belly of, there's really no difference. Why can't I do it?
So I had a question come up in a class that I taught last week for an agent who did $4.5 million last year and his goal is to do $10 million. And he said, well, Rick, who do you talk to? I mean, he already feels he's tapping into his sphere of influence. So it sounds like it's reaching beyond just your sphere of influence and actually building that relationship. Can you tell me more about your strategy with housewarming parties, baby showers, social media. It sounds like you got a system. Is this when you close? And if so, what does your post-close system look like to really secure that relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something new for us. And again, it's kind of feeling out and learning, because remember, this is pretty new to me. So I'm learning as I go along, and I'm learning what we do really well and what we need work on. And the one thing that Tabitha and I are really good at is building relationships with people. And of course, Tabitha is already into the whole wedding business. She has a really good sphere there and a really good knowledge of people who want to have fun and how to set up parties, and both of us love to have fun and love to interact with people, so that comes natural to us. So for us, what we do is we go ahead and set up free staging right up front. We let them know that that is available to them, and I have a home stager who I partnered with who will come in for 2 hours. Again, I pay that fee. It costs me about $160 to $350 depending on how much time she spends there. She comes in and basically does a full walkthrough of here's what needs to be done, here's what I can do right now, here's what I suggest the sellers do. And it gives them a sense of mind, okay, she definitely said we should paint, she definitely said we should get rid of the smoke smell. And all of the little things that maybe it's hard for us to say, she says, which is wonderful for a seller. And I tell you, just that home staging, which again cost me such a little bit compared to what you make in commission, every single home I've home staged with her, I've sold within the first 30 days. Even homes that I didn't sell maybe 6 months ago, I had her home stage it with me. Next thing you know, the home had multiple offers. So it makes a huge difference. And if you can partner with somebody that can do that for you, the cost is definitely worth it. I know sometimes it's risky. There's been some houses that I've spent a little more because the owners have kept things for 20 years. It was almost a hoarding effect. But we did the work. I showed up on a Saturday. I had other people that were on my team, and you know what? We started emptying their closets because all that hard work will come back to you. And you know what? I ended up selling that house myself, and I ended up making an $18,000 commission. Yes, I gave up a Saturday and a Sunday, and I paid, I think, $800 to my home stager. But hey, will I pay $800 for 18? Absolutely.
Yes, please. So if someone's out there, and I know that a lot of people are here are not from Orlando, so maybe can't get yours, what would you say would be some criteria they're going to look for in interviewing or finding a pre-qualified or a quality home stager?
That's a good point. You know, I met mine in a networking business event. I have known her for a couple years, and she actually did my personal home. I think it's really hard for us to trust somebody to do it right. Here's the thing that you want. You want somebody who people will immediately gravitate towards and feel comfortable with, because nobody wants someone to come in and tell them, I hate this, I hate that, this is ugly, this is terrible. You want somebody who works well with people and kind of gives them the information that they need, but also does it in a way that they need to hear it. Also, you need somebody who can work with what's there. Nobody wants to hear, I want you to get new blinds, new curtains, this is terrible, get a new couch, because most sellers don't want to do that. Again, it is a short list of things like painting, I want you to move this out, let's move this to the garage. She repurposes what's already in the house to different areas. You want people that have that talent that can use what's already there, and the person that their main goal isn't to make a bunch of money. It's to help people. Everybody should come out of a sense of value, and your home stagers should be exactly the same. You want them to work with your people, not freak them out, not anger them, but give them the information they need, and then they can make choices of, this is what I'm willing to do, and this is what I'm not willing to do.
And you feel that that's impactful with building that relationship?
It's huge. I use Pam Skinner, Surroundings by Pam, who I absolutely love. Again, she did my personal home, so I got to know her. Then I trust her. I go with her to the appointments, and again, her and I will show up in tennis shoes and shorts and just work it until we get it done, and I love her for that. She knows she will forever have my business.
Surroundings by Pam?
Mm-hmm.
Is her?
That's her.
So if you want to take a look, Surroundings by Pam, big old shout out right there, so you can find her right here. And it sounds like
Absolutely.
I'll like her Facebook page. So cool.
Yeah, she's a great person to work with, and she really works well with your clients. So highly recommend her.
Okay, so you've got the listing with free staging up front. What else do you do to really secure and separate yourself with that relationship building?
The big thing is to keep in contact. The number one complaint that sellers have is you get the property listed and next thing you know you never hear from your agent. Stay in contact with your people. Even if you have teams where you have somebody else kind of handling that, stay in contact with your seller. Every time there's a showing, give them immediate feedback, whether it's text, by phone, send weekly information updates. Make sure somebody is contacting them. Do what you say you're going to do. Don't overpromise. People really appreciate honesty, and sometimes if I go for a price reduction, they're not happy at first, but once they have some time to deal with it, think about it, they come back to me and say, you know what, you're right. I'm not thinking as a business person, I'm thinking as a homeowner who loves this home, and we need to reduce that price. So I treat everybody, honestly, like they were family, or if they were my dad, who I had the pleasure of listing his home this year, and that was probably one of the hardest deals I've ever done. So, you know, you really just have to treat them the way you would want to be treated. And I feel really strongly about that communication and giving them the warm fuzzies, because really that's where most of my businesses come from.
Well, and as you said that, I think it really separates you, and it helps the clients understand that it's more than just putting on the MLS. There's a professionalism, the proper expectations that things do matter. That way when you do go back and ask for a price reduction or have some news to tell them, they know that it is thinking like a business person, that things matter, and it's not just about putting the MLS, as so many people have that negative reputation of us.
Oh, that's true.
I'm going to open it up real fast. Patsy Woody's got a couple questions for you. Patsy, can you hear us? I've got you unmuted. Patsy, you there? Okay, I'm going to mute her back up. She asked, I'm not sure, I asked her to do it because I'm not sure what the intention was, but is your marketing manager licensed?
No, she is not licensed, and actually she has not done real estate. She used to be in selling apartments, basically, or renting apartments. So we went through the process with her. I'm really excited to have her on board and expect some really big things, but she is not licensed at this point.
Okay, and then the other question was, which I wanted to key in a little bit, do you have a coach?
Well, actually, Craig Delahoy is my coach and who I consider my coach. He has been so gracious with his time and information. And, you know, sometimes you just connect with people, and everything he says I just either write down or I completely take to heart. And, you know, I have to give him props. He's been so good to me, and really he's been instrumental in making me see what matters most. And I completely appreciate, you know, everything he's done for me. So I would consider him my coach.
And then the other one I'm going to call out here, I'm going to unmute him here real fast. Whoa, he's loud. I'm going to mute him. Dave Frazier and you have been very, at least humorous from the outside looking in, accountability partners.
Absolutely. And, you know, Rick, you were the one who actually put us together. We were at a webinar. I don't know if it was this webinar. I think it was just an information webinar. And I chimed up and said I need an accountability partner. And next thing you know, you said, Dave Frazier, meet Debbie Irons. And, you know, that's been huge. The thing with David and I is we are accountability partners. We're probably too lax on one another at times. But I tell you what, you have bonded two people together that just care. I mean, it's not really about accountability anymore. Both of us want so much to see each other succeed. I mean, we're still the same people. We're very competitive. We love to have fun. But, you know, you bonded two people together, probably not even knowing it, that it's just been an amazing relationship and accountability at the same time. But it's been great for my business, and you know, for my friendship too.
Well, I love watching you guys in that aspect, and I learned something at Coach's Skills Camp, that you cannot hold somebody else accountable. So when you say you can't hold him and don't hold him accountable and vice versa, accountability is within, and someone can hold you able and remind you. But if you don't want to do it inside, if you don't want to put in that work, it's having that person who constantly will jab you and remind you. So I tell this to a lot of people. Go find that buddy system out there. Go find somebody who has the same passion and that same fire in the belly as you do. What would you say is really distinctive about your relationship? Because you can't have a successful accountability partner with anybody. It's got to be someone unique. So if someone's listening to this phone call and they're saying, gosh, if only I had that person, what do they need to look for? What are some key requirements that Dave has that really just meshes well with you?
Yeah, I think you need to find that person you have a personal connection with. I mean, Dave and I see each other every day. We rib each other via text all of the time or via Facebook. I think we have a lot of things in common. There's a lot of differences as well, but we have a lot of things in common. But we took the time to develop a personal relationship. We actually care. I mean, we will rib each other until it's obvious that, okay, wait a minute, she's having a bad day. Let's change that up and give her the support she needs. I know he does that for me, and hopefully I do that for him. So I think taking it on a personal level and figuring out, just as if you were in a relationship with a boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, whatever, to me it had to be a good match, because otherwise I don't feel comfortable telling somebody, you know what, I'm not having a good day, just leave me alone. But for Dave, I do, and you know, he probably does the same. So we can be real with one another, and we do rib one another, and I don't like him to tell me like, okay, I haven't seen you in this office, where are you, what are you doing, I haven't seen you, I know you're not making your calls, so don't even try it. So it's you really have to find that person that clicks with you, that you know is going to motivate you but support you at the same time.
Yeah, well said. And his audio is bad, but he chimed in that you absolutely do. He's very grateful, and you're going down the 30 listings 90 days challenge.
Tell him no way. We can't wait to see him in a bathing suit washing my car.
Yeah, don't tell us when that will be. I want to open it up. I want to open it up to you guys out there for some questions that you do have. And as you guys are pouring them in a little bit, I want to go a little more in depth, because when you build these relationships, there's a part two to that, and that's asking for the business, asking for the referrals, right? Because it sounds like what you've done is built such a trust and bond with your clients that you feel comfortable and it's not awkward to ask them for that favor and that referral. So when, how, and where does that look like, and what's your ratio if you have one?
Another great question. You know, I have to say, being a high D, if we're looking at the disc right now, and if you're familiar with the disc, I'm a really high I. My D is slightly under that, but I have a really high I, which, as you know, it wants to be liked. I want to be liked. So it's always been very, very hard for me to just ask for business. I feel like I'm bothering people, and their relationship with me is the most important thing to me. I think my mindset now, and that I've had this switch of, you know what, if I don't make money and I don't make this successful, I don't pay the bills. Again, you've had that mindset switch where, you know what, I am who I am, love me or hate me, here it is, and I'm going to ask you for business because I need it, I want it, and plus I feel responsible to my team. I so want Tabitha to do well. I want my admin bonus to crank every month on the 30th, you know. I want them to say, you know what, I joined this team and I'm super happy I joined this team, and I want us all to feel great about the team. So I feel responsible to them, and that drives me to say, can I have your business? So, you know, I've never been the best lead generator. Let me be honest and throw that out there. I've never been the one that was super disciplined and time blocked, and, you know, I felt like I was on survival mode, and of course that has changed quite a bit with this challenge that we've had, and it's been amazing. Just in the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, where, you know what, every single conversation I have is purposeful, because Craig challenged me with this challenge and said, I think you can do this. And he said, I want you to ask every single person you know. Every time you have a conversation, I don't even care if it's somebody calling to sell you something. Ask them, who do they know? So I had a bracelet made up for my daughter that says, who do you know? I'm having pins made up that say superhero, disguised as a real estate agent. I don't care anymore. You know what? This is about me and my children and my goals, and I want you to like me, but you know what? This is who I am, and I'm going to ask you for business. That's what it comes down to.
Did I hear you said your daughter made you a bracelet?
Yes, my daughter made me signs, which I don't know if you check Facebook, you see the signs. I promised them a big surprise at the end of the 90 days. That was when we did this challenge. That was one thing I wanted to do with them. I let them know what was going on, that Mommy was going to be working more than usual. I was going to be a little bit more stressed than usual. Maybe I wasn't going to be 100% in because I was going to focus on them, and I needed them to be involved, which again means they might have to go on showings. They might have to be without me for dinner. They might go with me to hang flyers or hang door knockers, because at the end of this 90 days, if we reach our goal, I promise you, you will have Mommy more than you will ever have Mommy for the rest of the year. If we really work at these 90 days, guess what you're going to get at the end? And we're going to take this great big prize at the end of 90 days, which, shh, don't tell them I've booked a cruise. So there's no failure ratio in this whole thing. So
they're on the call. I invited them on. Sorry.
Thanks so much. Yeah, shh, not supposed to know that. So I really, being a single mom with 4 girls, and I encourage everybody to bring your family in. It can't be a secret of what your goals are, and you have to give up the notion that you don't need them, because I do. I need them to go on a showing with me. If I have Tessa, who's my 5-year-old, you know what? Sometimes I just need her to go, and I have to stop apologizing for that, and I don't anymore. Here's who I am. I'm great at what I do, but sometimes I might have a child with me because that's the deal, but I'm here for you, and I'm showing you the house that you want to see today.
That, to me, is the best 2 minutes of this entire phone call, because it's being real, it's being honest, and it's getting your family on board with your goals instead of expectations. So you don't have to feel bad for missing dinner because they've already given you permission. Because sometimes
Correct.
We put a guilt on ourselves for missing the things that are important. Yeah, by having that upfront conversation, getting their buy-in, having Jeff assist because he knows what you're going through, that to me is one of the most pinnacle things and pivotal things to be successful, is getting your loved ones on board. So I love that you just said that there. You started the 30-day listing just this month, so day 6?
I did, day 6, yes.
How's it going?
It's going well. I'm super thrilled. I think Dave and I are neck and neck right now at 2 listings. But what's coming out of that is amazing to me. The goal was to really set habits every single day to be lead generating, calling people, which again, I've already told you, I'm not the best lead generator and caller. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I'm doing it. I went door knocking, which again is not my favorite thing to do, but I did it. So it's stepping out of your box of comfort and doing these things that you said you were going to do, and having your team buy in. My whole office is decorated with the number 30, which I like people to think that's my next birthday, but we all know that's not true. So, but I want everybody to buy in, and let's do this. Imagine what we can do. If we get 30 listings, which again is more than we had in the entire year, imagine what we could do the rest of the year. So it's about a buy-in. It's about getting everybody excited. 2 listings, but you know what? We know the first couple of weeks are all about lead gen. Let's get us into habits, and let's rock this out.
Well, you've done 2 in 6 days, which is 1/3, which is 30 and 90, so you're right on track. So congratulations for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to unmute Debbie. Debbie, you there? Debbie Russo?
Oh, Debbie Russo's right here.
Debbie, you had a question. Go ahead.
Well, Debbie, I've been very interested in hearing what you have to say, because I've only been doing real estate for, this is my 8th month, and it was a little encouraging to know you didn't have 1 sale in your first year, and unfortunately I've at least had the 1. But you mentioned accountability partners. So what kind of things do you and your accountability partner do with each other to hold you accountable? I mean, is it like Ignite, you turn in your numbers or whatever, or your contacts? What is it you guys do?
Yeah, hi Debbie. Yeah, I mean 8 months, 1 closing. Again, you're doing way better than I was. I really had no clue. So good for you, and stick to it. I promise you it will come back to you. But accountability partner, again, stick your hand out there and to your leadership and say, I'm looking for a good accountability partner who would you offer? Again, Rick is the one that put us together, whether by chance or however that happened. But also, it's not just about numbers. Say, you know what, we're going to go to lunch and we're going to talk about what's going on, because really the numbers are one thing, but what's going on in the back scenes of that is really what's most important, because that person can say, you know what, I'm sorry, you're not.
I lost you there. Sorry, you're not what? Don't do this, Debbie.
I didn't do it.
Not you, Debbie. The other Debbie.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Role play with this 90 days.
Oh, time out.
Hilarious.
Time out. We've got you back and we lost you. Go to lunch and it's not about what?
It's not about the numbers. It's about everything in the back scenes of why you're not doing it, what you should be doing it, and giving the people the opinion. You know, somebody can say, I can say to Dave, I haven't seen you in this office in 5 days. Of course you don't have numbers because you haven't been in this office. So we can say to one another, and we're comfortable with one another to tell each other how it is, but being supportive the entire way through and knowing there's a positive aspect to everything. So build that relationship with somebody. It's not just about the numbers. There's so much more with that. Because support, I mean, who doesn't want support? And somebody say, you know what, I know you didn't get that listing, but let's go towards the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think, you know, you found a very fortunate one in David of 2 realtors, yet it doesn't have to be another realtor, because it's someone who was willing to tell you as it is, and they're not going to be afraid to hurt your feelings, because sometimes you need to hear how it is.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Bob Kalinsky taught a class about 1.5 years ago and said, create your own board of directors. And on that board of directors will be your mentor, your buddy system, your coach, your team leader, and he said your BFF, which is obviously your best friend. And he said you need that BFF because they need to punch you in the jaw when you need to be punched in the jaw. They need to slap you in the face when you need that, because not everyone will. And I think that's a big part of it. Accountability person is going to be so in tune with what your goals are and know your hot buttons and know what you're passionate about and know when to push it and when not. So
Yeah, and you know, one thing Craig said to me, which I think is very, very important, he asked me, who are the 2 people that you really do not want to disappoint? Like, what really would hurt you if you disappointed them? And I really had 3. I don't know that I could narrow it down to 2, but one was Craig and Rich. I don't want to disappoint them because I know they have such high hopes for what I can do, but also it was my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, okay, those are the people. I mean, I love David, and he and I are great accountability partners, but, you know, those people I really just, it would hurt me to disappoint them. And those can be people that you need to tell your goals to, because you don't want to wake up and tell them, you know what, I'm sorry, Mommy went shopping today instead of doing the things she should have done, and we didn't get a listing. I don't want to come to my kids and say, you know what, Mommy can't afford this field trip. I'm really sorry. I don't ever want to do that, and I would tear up right now thinking about that, because that's nothing I ever want to do. And what would I do in order to get away from that? I'll knock on 100 doors, even though I hate it. I'll do it.
the pain versus pleasure. It's
Absolutely.
really getting to that big why.
Yes.
And I love where this has taken us today, and a little bit off track, but more so mindset, accountability, and your big why. I got an email from your assistant the other day about some things that you feel have made an impact in your business. Let's see, where is it at? I'm opening up my email right now, which you can't see. So tell me about some of these flyers, and then anyone on this call will get a copy of them so they can duplicate them and mimic them. Tell me about what's going on here.
Absolutely. There were 2 really big things that we did that have made a big difference in our listings. One is actually Stephanie Sosa. If you're looking right now, it says Village Walk is in demand. And these are the postcards that Stephanie and I put together. She was a big part in this, in which we have continued. And we have targeted specific neighborhoods. So, of course, you've got your farming. We've got our farming queen, Jenny Weimer, who, of course, I've learned so much through these Rainmaker masterminds that Rich put together. They've been great, and I love Jenny Weimer's business and Mike Weimer's business. So farming is one of those things, and I want specific listings in specific neighborhoods that we work quite a bit. So we sent these postcards. You can see the front, and on the back what you'll see is there are the most recent sales. If we've also listed and sold, we have that information, but it's basically telling everybody what's going on in the market. We want to sell your home. Here's what we've done so far. Call me today. And it's in demand, and we could sell it today. And I'll tell you, the response from that has been huge. Here's what people say to me. You know what, I got your postcard today, and I can tell this is a girl that wants a job. Somehow, from this postcard, they got that. And so it's been huge for us. Right now, I think we send it to about 7 different neighborhoods. We're cranking that up, of course, right now. And as it works, you start to spend more money, more money, more money. Again, new agents, we always tell you to lead with revenue. So that's maybe not something you want to get into, but think about it. Maybe target one neighborhood with 100 homes, but you've got to realize you've got to do it over and over. So every other month, hit them with the new information. Door knock with a new flyer. So start small if you're a new agent, and then start to build up. But this has been something, a piece of mail that has worked. Every time we mail out, I would say at least 500, we get 3 listing appointments. So wow. That works. That house that you see in that community right there, we have that listed at $385 right now. So imagine I closed that deal. I've paid for about 3 years of postcards.
Yeah, love that. A couple other attachments here. Let me shoot it over to my other screen. What's going on here?
Okay, something very, very simple and sweet. All this was a letter, which I will tell you one of the biggest things to do is we hand wrote, or my executive assistant Chelsea hand wrote each and every address. It was a smaller community, but we knew it was a community that everybody wanted to buy in. We hand wrote the address so it would get opened, and it's basically saying, look, I have a buyer. Are you ready to sell? And we received, I would say, at least 4 to 5 listings from just this community and another community known as Crest, if you know it, just from these letters. So I guess we probably maybe mailed and spent $800 to $1,000 on these letters, and probably made back 30. So these are the types of things. It doesn't have to be extravagant. This was something super simple that we sent out. Now, as the market changes, you know we're in kind of a shift, so you kind of have to shift with it. But these are 2 of the things. Highly recommend you copy. Of course, don't use our communities. Just kidding. But these are the type of things that, you know, work. You just have to do the work and send them out and do it, and they can be really, really profitable.
This is part of a farm and part of a touch, or is this when you get a listing or when you have a buyer in that area?
Well, both. We just started sending them. I had a listing in the area. I actually live in the Hammock Point community, so I started hitting that community up because, again, I knew it was a quick turnaround, and sure enough, I think we've had 5 listings in that community. And again, we're starting small. I would love to be Jenny Weimer one day, but you start small. You've got to start somewhere. So don't overwhelm yourself with, oh my goodness, I could never do what Jenny Weimer does. You know what? You can. You've just got to change your mindset and start small. Pick one community that you want to sell in and start hitting it hard. Just focus, focus, focus on listings in that community.
Rock and roll. What's a question or comment or concern or something I need to ask you as we wrap up our final minute here that I have not?
For me, let's see. I guess the biggest thing I want to talk about is I have a lot of other goals besides real estate. So for me, I need a lot going on. I need a lot of changes, again, being the high I, in order to make this work. So start something else in your office that you feel strongly about or passionate about. Find what that is and use that for both your business and to fulfill what you do in your job. For me, being a part of the culture committee was huge for me. We buy and sell, and we deal with buyers and sellers and complaints and all kinds of things all day long, and there's days, I've got to tell you, that I was like, ugh, I'd rather go swim with the gators and take soil samples. I don't care if I'm making $20 an hour. This is crazy. But you've got to find something else which makes it all worthwhile. And, of course, the program with the real estate scholarships has been big for me. I'm really passionate about it. I so want it to work. I mean, one day I'd really like to just document the complete program and success and teach every single MCA in the country to do it. So find something else that also can help your business as well, and you can do a side-by-side thing, whether it's coach your volleyball team, volunteer at your school, whatever it is that you're super passionate about other than real estate, use that, fulfill yourself with that, and also use it for your business. So don't forget about that as well.
I was going to say the word is fulfillment. It keeps your energy level high. It keeps your batteries full, because if you just ignore everything else that's important to you and you do real estate only and you don't get the results you want, or you don't have the passion around it, you're going to get burnt out, and your willpower is going to be drained. So that's important.
Absolutely. George Philbeck actually said to me, and his coach said to me, you know, through this challenge you should take 3 days off. And I looked at him and I'm like, wait, what? How? I can't take 3 days off. Like, this is something I've said I'm going to work all the time. But, you know, they have a lot of good reasons for that, because just like I'm a better mom because I'm not a stay-at-home mom, because I probably just would be that mean, angry person, I'm a better mom because I want to set that example for them, and I have that break, and I want to raise leaders, especially having 4 girls. I want to raise leaders and be that person and be who I really am. You know, take that break. Take your time so you have that time to refresh and get that back. And again, the real estate scholarships really for me is something that also fulfills me. I've said many times to many people, if I fail at everything else, whether it was marriage, real estate, team building, whatever it is, if I fail at and everything else, as long as my girls will grow up and at 25 tell me I was a great mom, nothing else matters to me.
Love that. On that note, I'm going to say thanks for being a fantastic guest for me today. We've gone over, which is a good problem to have, because you're full of information, and obviously you and I are friends and go back and hang out a lot, yet I loved hearing your backstory and your breakthroughs, and, you know, finally realizing that you don't have the systems or the discipline that match your goals, which is a class I taught last week, is a discipline match your goals, and you're living proof that you need to change who you are in order to achieve those goals. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
I expect to fully have you on here next year and asking how you went to $14 million. So,
thank you, Rick. We're going to do it.
All right. Those of you guys are on here, if you want to take a look at it, next or in 2 weeks I'll be having Joey DeSain on there. And Joey is an agent out of West Palm Beach, 3 years in business, 15+ million in sales. Young guy, just talk about discipline. He's got it. So that'll be in 2 weeks. This is being recorded. So if you guys want to take a look at this one or any other that I've done, you can take a look at my YouTube page, youtube.com. Bosley Rick, would love to have you be on there. Subscribe to it. You'll see all my upcoming videos or videos that go on there. Another great day. Thanks again, Debbie.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Everyone have a great Tuesday. And I will be emailing out those flyers that she did for you. So those of you on the call, if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, sorry you missed it. It's exclusive. So we'll see you live next time we have it.
Bye. Take care.
Guys, be well.